So I thought it'd be kind of fun to talk to all of you today about the top 3 questions that I've been getting from individual investors. And the number one question I've been getting recently is, with so many negatives in the economy right now, is it a good time to invest? And this has again happened in the last, call it, month or so, since September has been such a weak month. And I guess my answer to that question very simply is yes, you should be in the market. It's very difficult to time the market. Get out on September 1st, get back in on September 30th, or sell in May and go away, sell in May and come back in October when you're supposed to, quote unquote, supposed to come back in, because we know the period between May and October underperforms the period between October and May. But that would entail timing the market. And we don't like to time markets. And on top of that, if the markets have come down in September, what a time to buy. You know, I've talked to a number of investors over the last week, and they've said, Alan, why are you buying this? It's struggling right now. And my answer is, yes, I'm buying it because it's struggling right now and because the price is so low. If it was not struggling, the price would be much higher. And who wants to buy high to potentially sell lower later? We want to buy low, a good quality investment, to potentially sell higher later. And that's why I think, yeah, individual investors should remain invested, even though there are so many negatives in the market right now. The number 2 question on our list, we can pull that back up, there we go, is, oh, that's the wrong list there, is should I have all my, there it is, should I continue to have all my money invested, or should I pull some money out of my investments to pay down some of my debts, like mortgages, like my mortgage? That's a question, again, I've been getting a lot throughout the year. And as I've said on other shows, and I think my last show, we've seen a lot of individual investors pulling money out of their savings, out of their investments to pay down debt. And I guess the best way to know if that's what you should do is, what is the interest you're paying on your debt? That will make a difference. If you're lucky enough to have a fixed rate mortgage, let's say as an example, and still paying a 2% interest, well, I think you'd be better served putting your money in the market, because I think you'd make more than 2%. If you're unfortunate enough that you are in a variable rate mortgage and that mortgage is now 6-7%, or if you're in a line of credit situation, or if you have a loan that is greater than 6, 7, 8%, 8% if you're in the US, their mortgage rates are getting up there, then perhaps you want to start paying down some of that debt. So I think it all comes down to what the rate is on your debt that you have. That will dictate what you should do. Pay off the debt fully, pay off some, or invest in the market and continue to hold that debt. The third question that I've received most often over the past, let's say, a few months or so is simply, do I think, there it is, do you think the Bank of Canada will raise interest rates again? And I was on CP24 not too long ago. They asked me that question right before the central bank, or Bank of Canada, had a rate decision, and they did not raise. I believe in Canada, we will not raise. I think our economy is slowing quicker, perhaps, than the central bank even thought it would. In the US, I think they could raise one more time. I've heard some talk by Federal Reserve governors that it's probably a one and done situation. Although, as I said earlier, you have about a 40% chance right now that that will be the case. So 60% says they're not going to raise. So take that as you will. It's very difficult to know. I think we just got to continue to look at the data that comes out, the macro data that gets released by the government, to tell us exactly how the economy is faring, how inflation is, how the battle against inflation is going. And that will tell us whether or not central banks will raise maybe one more time.